Bladderworts suck in animals and eat them alive. But which species are meeting this grisly demise? On a wetland east of Esperance, Thilo Krueger is trying to crack a baffling case. Key points: bladderworts are a species of carnivorous plant that use their traps to capture and eat animals. A West Australian scientist hopes to be the first to use a technique called DNA metabarcoding to identify the species they are eating. To stay up to date with latest top stories, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel by clicking the button above this video. Esperance habitats are poor in nutrients, so these plants have evolved to get nutrients by eating animals. He is wading through the habitat of the world's fastest moving predatory plant, which survives by sucking animals into a trap and eating them alive. Although the hunting tactics sound messy, they are in fact so covert that no one has managed to identify exactly what species of animals the plants are ingesting. Mr. Krueger, a PhD student at Curtin University, hopes to change that. This is really quite important to research them and to ensure their conservation for the long term, he said. Mr. Krueger is interested in a particular type of carnivorous plant called bladderworts of the genus Utricularia, known as the fastest moving predatory plant in the world because of its system for trapping animals. The plant has an underwater bladder attached to its stem, which is surrounded by small hairs that act as trip wires. When an animal moves past the trip wire, it triggers the bladder to open and suck the prey inside. This happens in a fraction of a millisecond, more than 100 times more quickly than a Venus flytrap. The animal is then digested within the bladder structure. What are the plants eating? Mr. Krueger plans to use a technique called DNA metabarcoding to work out what species of animal the plants are eating. Adam Cross, an ecologist from Curtin University, said that previous studies of the bladderwort's diet had involved looking at the traps under a microscope and trying to see what was there. The small sac-like structures are where the plants suck in animals to eat. But he explained that as the traps are so small and as much of the prey was partially digested, it was very difficult to determine visually. But a DNA comparison should be much more accurate. The first stage of this technique requires Mr. Krueger to collect samples of the plant traps, which he did near Esperance last week. The traps, which the plant uses to catch and eat small animals, are easily visible on stems fanning out from the plant. Supplied David Guilfoyle, he will then send them to a laboratory to sequence all the DNA found in the trap. That will then be compared to a library of known animal DNA sequences and hopefully reveal exactly what species are inside each trap. This will also allow them to compare the dietary differences between bladderwort species. Mr. Krueger says the diets are likely to include small crustaceans like ostracods, copepods and water fleas. Low rainfall, farming runoff may threaten species. Donna Beach, an elder and ranger from the Esperance Jolt Rock Native Title Corporation, is part of a team of local rangers helping Mr. Krueger last week. She was excited to learn the unique species thrived on her country, Kepa Curl Buja, and was keen to help conserve them. This will create opportunities for rangers in the area and our organizations to go out and study all the different wetlands in the Esperance region and ensure the conservation factor of the plants, she said. Mr. Krueger believes that conservation work will be crucial given the plants needed low-nutrient wetlands to survive, and these will likely suffer if rainfall reduced and high-nutrient runoff from farming properties made its way to their habitats. The low-nutrient habitat around Esperance is ideal for bladderworts as they get nutrients by eating animals. Esperance is known for soil that is poor in nutrients, and Mr. Krueger says that is why bladderworts have adapted to instead get their nutrients from animals. While there are about 250 species globally, 9 are found near Esperance and 2 of them are endemic to the region. Most of these species we do have in cultivation, so people in botanic gardens, for example, do grow them, he said. But I would argue that the most important thing is really to make sure the plants are safe in their natural environment.